Hi, I'm Steve Gallant, tax partner at LGA, and I'm here with Larry Andler, who's one of our tax principals. And our topic for this week is selling your business, how to structure the sale. Most people only sell their business one time in their life, and there are a lot of emotion and planning and ways to do it, to sell the business. And one is a stock sale, which is the preferred method for the seller, because the seller will then just pay capital gains tax at a lower tax rate. And the buyer actually wants an asset sale because whatever he pays for the company, he wants to be able to step up the value of the assets and depreciate and amortize them over time. So there's a conflict there between buyer and seller. So negotiation is extremely important.
That's right, Steve. In addition, the buyer doesn't want to acquire any of the kind of bad history of the company or any of the liabilities, including those that may not even be known when they're structuring the transaction. So the buyer is much more prefers to say, I want that asset, not that asset, and they don't acquire the liabilities, whereas the seller wants a clean break from their business. Therefore, they want to just sell the stock and be able to walk away and kind of go into retirement or whatever their next phase of life is. So it's important to negotiate, as Steve said, between the buyer and the seller to reach a price that reflects both these preferences and the different tax results for the buyer and the seller, because you want to mitigate the effects for both sides.
There are some situations, Larry, where you might not be able to pull off anything but a stock sale.
Yeah, so in some cases you have a stock sale required because there are contracts that aren't transferable or other agreements and employment relationships and things like that you can't transfer in an asset sale as easily because the vendor or the other party isn't willing to transfer. So you're required to do a stock sale so that those assets are transferred as part of the transaction. But there are ways to get around that through the tax code, one of which allows you to have a stock sale that you elect to treat as an asset sale.
It's called a 338H10, where you basically sell stock, but you treat it as an asset sale. The benefits there, obviously, to the buyer is that they get a step up in basis in the assets, and the seller has a stock sale. There's a clear line, and the stock is sold. However, by agreeing to do the stock sale, treat it as an asset sale, the seller could end up paying a little bit more tax. So that's often major part of the negotiation.
It's important to reach all of these agreements before you sign the contracts, and that you're not dealing with them when you're filing your tax returns. And as part of that, you want to have a good team in place to make sure this transition goes smoothly and that your retirement and the acquisition on the other side go well.
And I think the most important thing, Larry, is to make sure that you put together a well-seasoned tax team to structure and carry the transaction through.